On a typical, mundane day, Yuki was passing time in his uneventful school routine when his childhood friend Yuhi caught his eye. Though he initially cautioned her against approaching him for fear of sparking scandalous gossip, Yuhi paid his concerns no mind. To his surprise, she even offered to trim his overgrown locks. As Yuki gradually opened up to her, a small smile crept onto his face, and he realized how much he cherished their bond. As they gazed out the window, contemplating the world beyond their classroom, a sudden darkness descended, and a mysterious circle materialized on the ground before them. While everyone else in the class is panicking, Yuki remains calm and collected, fully aware of what's happening. As soon as the others open their eyes, they find themselves in a barren wasteland. Yuki, on the other hand, looks around with excitement as he knows exactly where they are. Yuhi, curious to know more, tries to ask Yuki, but their attention is quickly diverted by a noise coming from nearby. A group of Chemtech soldiers soon comes into view, causing the students to frantically run away. However, Yuki stays put and doesn't budge, confident in his knowledge of the magical powers at play. Yuhi, concerned for her friend's safety, holds onto Yuki tightly as a soldier approaches them. But Yuki easily defeats the soldier with just a flick of his finger, and the two quickly make their escape. As they continue running, they come across another group of soldiers, referred to as demons, engaged in a fierce battle with the first group. The students stand and watch the fight unfold, but Yuki is puzzled as to why the war hasn't ended yet. Yuki's chest begins to ache as he gazes at the demons once more, realizing that he had been cursed earlier. Suddenly, a young woman on horseback appears, urging the students to find safety, while the royal knights take up arms against the demon horde. Although Yuki recognizes the girl, he remains unfazed by her impressive swordsmanship and magical prowess, appearing rather proud. As they make their escape under the protection of their saviors, Yuhi is amazed by the strength of these young fighters. Later, upon reaching the castle, the king and his daughter express their gratitude to the heroes for answering their call to help defend their kingdom from the demonic invasion, just as they had done 5 years ago. However, the students find themselves bewildered and struggling to make sense of the situation. Margaret goes into great detail about how their world was saved by a hero who defeated the demons and brought peace 5 years ago, but then disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The king is now desperately seeking the help of other heroes to end the ongoing war between demons and beastkin. In order to prepare for battle, all students are required to learn swordsmanship with Glein and magic with Elka. Yuki, however, has no interest in putting in the effort and instead wants to simply coast by. Elka notices Yuki's lack of effort during training and calls him out on it, praising his calm demeanor but also pointing out his selfishness. When Yuki mocks her, Elka tries to teach him a lesson, but he ends up slapping her after dodging her attack. As she feels his hands strike her, she realizes that Yuki is actually the former hero, and she expresses how lonely she has been since he left. Yuki apologizes and promises that he is back for good. Just as Yuki is using Elka as a seat, Glein arrives and they explain the situation to him. Glein realizes that Yuki must be the former hero based on Elka's behavior towards him. They hurry to inform their fellow companion, Thea, but she greets the news with nonchalance. She had already sensed Yuki's magical presence despite his altered appearance, and was well aware of his return before they even told her. Yuki reminisces about his promise to return, which he has now fulfilled, and his 3 comrades express their delight at his homecoming with welcoming smiles. However, Yuki's elation is short-lived, as he contemplates the danger his companions faced in his absence, and his expression changes accordingly. His curiosity about the demon's recent attacks prompts his comrades to inquire about his journey back to their world, and the reason for his new appearance. They reveal that, from their perspective, Yuki had vanished after his last battle, leaving them puzzled about his whereabouts. Yuki, on the other hand, is perplexed about his unexpected return and recounts his battle with Toma, their companion. In the midst of their fight, Yuki struck Toma's shoulder, causing a magical ball to expand and transport him back to his original world, but he had retained all his memories and magical powers. Thea and Elka discuss the princess's previous statements about Yuki's last summoning, which Yuki seems uninterested in at the moment. All he wants to know is what happened to Toma after their last encounter. He suggests that Toma is likely responsible for the recent demon invasion, assuming that he is still alive. Thea inquires about whether the demons are being controlled by a curse or Toma's power, to which Yuki confirms, having sensed magical power emanating from a demon a few days ago. Therefore, the only logical explanation is that Toma is the mastermind behind everything. Elka explains that they searched for Toma but could not find him, just like they did for Yuki, until they discovered that Yuki was still alive, which led them to believe that Toma must also be alive. Their conversation is interrupted by a soldier's urgent announcement that the king requires Glyn's immediate presence. Yuki comments on how hard his companion is working, while Elka remarks that Yuki was supposed to have taken on that task, but had planned to travel the world after the final battle instead. As they admire the scenery, Yuki begins to wonder about Toma's intentions. Meanwhile, inside the castle, the king regrets accepting a peace treaty 5 years ago and decides to declare an all-out war against the demons. Glyn tries to delay the declaration, explaining that their emissary has yet to return with news from the demonic continent. However, the princess disagrees with him, citing the invasion by the demons and the simultaneous summoning of heroes as proof that war is inevitable. Once again, the king reiterates his regret in trusting the former hero to establish a peace treaty, implying that it was a mistake. He even goes as far as to suggest that if he were to disappear, it would be a consequence of his misguided decision. Meanwhile, Yuhi is honing her natural talent for magic on the training grounds, and Yuki commends her on her abilities. However, Yuhi's doubts about the morality of using her powers for harm and the futility of war begin to surface. Yuki is torn between being truthful and shielding her from the harsh reality of their world. Later, Yuki's companions inform him of the king's plans to initiate a war. While Glyn buys some time, Yuki is resolved to take matters into his own hands and stop Toma, the instigator of the conflict. Though his friends express their desire to accompany him, Yuki believes he must undertake this mission alone. In addition, they are unable to abandon the castle and leave the students to fend for themselves. The reason being, if Toma is indeed the one inciting the war, then someone needs to remain in the castle to defend against his inevitable attack. This alone is sufficient justification for them to remain and assist the kingdom. However, before departing, Yuki requires his weapon. The group employs invisibility magic to stealthily navigate the castle's storage room. Elka proceeds to take down the guards, while the others reminisce about her leading them during their previous dungeon explorations. Elka then proceeds to pick the lock, but Yuhi detects something unusual and observes them entering. Inside, Yuki comes across a massive black sword, which he names Kuromaru. Unfortunately, the guards discover the guard that Elka has knocked out and begin scouring the castle for the intruders. Thea and Glyn will do everything in their power to slow down the situation, allowing Yuki and Elka to flee the castle. After escaping the castle walls, Elka assures Yuki that they will do everything possible to prevent the king from starting the war, giving him ample time to thwart Toma and the demon invasion. Meanwhile, Yuhi, who witnessed Yuki entering the storage room, manages to follow him. She rushes into his embrace, questioning his whereabouts and intentions. He then decides to disclose the truth, revealing that this is his second time being summoned to this world. In order to bring an end to the ongoing war, he expresses the need to find someone. Yuhi, who is overcome with emotions, offers to join him, assuring him that she can be of help. However, Yuki refuses her offer as he fears for her safety in such a perilous situation. Despite feeling overwhelmed, Yuhi remembers her pledge and decides to fulfill it. She instructs him to shut his eyes and then uses her skills in wind and fire magic to give him a new haircut, demonstrating her newfound strength. With a renewed sense of determination, Yuhi promises to protect him and passes his test by successfully dodging the knuckle to her forehead. So, that's for today. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this.